There's a certain legal case against her. But point is, gotta be careful. If you're in Dubai, it creates certain instability. Oh, guys, welcome back to Georgia. We have another beautiful, gorgeous day here in Georgia. And today I will tell you why I didn't get to buy an apartment here in Georgia. And probably I won't in the future as well. So we're going to talk about that. And I want to compare also Georgia with Dubai, United Arab Emirates in general. Both are great locations. Both are very similar in so many ways. If you come to do business, if you come to just be digital nomad, work online, bring your money here to the country, these two are competing with each other. Now, Georgia is a way cheaper place, and a lot of people don't even know that this country exists. Yeah, but this country is growing immensely quickly. So that's why I think it's reasonable to consider and talk about it. First, let's talk safety. Is Georgia safe? Yes, Georgia is really safe. So as Dubai. Dubai doesn't need an introduction. Dubai is extremely safe, beautiful place, highly regulated, and Dubai, they have really high fines for any sort of misdemeanor. Overspeeding, parking, if you litter on the streets, you're gonna pay. Here in Georgia, costs are way lower to the point that you don't even consider that as any sort of punishment at all. It's more like a little payment for convenience, I guess, of overspeeding and parking correctly. I'm not encouraging that you should do it. I'm just saying that you're not going to have a problem if you don't. Right. Let's talk about real estate. Obviously, both sides really go hard in the direction. Everyone wants to buy an apartment in Dubai. Now, let's talk facts. So Dubai is an expensive place. The entry point is probably, I want to say $100,000, but likely it's $150,000 and up, at least, for somewhat decent apartments. And it's not going to be in the center at all. It's going to be in some districts. But again, with real estate, as you know, it's location, location, location. Very important where you buy these apartments. Now, that's the starting price. If you talk about Georgia, starting price is about 40, maybe $50,000. You're probably going to get something really decent for this price. I'm talking about a little studio apartment. Now, return on investment is very similar in terms of that you're going to get 6 to 8% in Dubai on average. It's just average statistics. And you're going to get something similar in Georgia. However, the difference here is that Georgia is still a little bit fragile in that sense. It's not yet an established economy, established place where people bring their money, but it's growing and I have high hopes about it. And as you know, a huge Dubai developer is also coming here to the country. So likely there will be some proper, solid investment here. So I have high hopes about it. Now, let's talk about interesting things. If you are from Europe, if you are a Westerner coming to Dubai and Georgia, there are a few little things which might be unusual to you. There is one for Dubai and one for Georgia. Let's start with Dubai. Obviously, in Dubai, it's a strict place and it's a Muslim place. So if you're coming there, you have to respect it. For example, you can't make photos and videos of people without their permission. Well, point is, if you're Western Europe, it goes the other way. If you're an American, you have the right to publicly make videos of anything you prefer because it's public space. It's not working the same way in Dubai. People have their privacy and you have to respect it. If you're not nice to people, even if you're just chatting on WhatsApp or Instagram DMs, you have to be nice. If you say something hurtful to people, they might report it and you might have a problem with that. So you have to be a proper, decent person if you prefer to live in Dubai. Now, what about Georgia? I would say drivers. If you come from the United States, you would notice that I don't want to say Georgian drivers are crazy, but they kind of are. It's almost impossible to cross the street here without a fear for your life. And before you hate me, if you're from Georgia, it's the only one thing I don't like about Georgia. I think there's so many beautiful things here going for Georgia, but only one thing I would mention is drivers. They drive very quickly. They don't yield for pedestrians. Pedestrians just don't have the right of any sort of priority to cross the street first. So you really need to just jump in front of the cars and hope they stop. And most of the time they do, but often they don't. And I've had a good amount of conflict because of it. Because, well, what about this driver? How do they think you're supposed to cross the road when there's a steady stream of cars? I have no idea. But that's pretty much it. Now, speaking of money, your personal income in Georgia, well, there's a flat rate of 20% for personal income here versus 0% in Dubai. However, beautiful. Beautiful. Now, here in Georgia, you can pay 1% on your income if you work some sort of online job, right? So if you register a sole entrepreneur account here, actually you don't really do that, and they're not asking you to pay taxes right away anyway. It's pretty flexible in that direction, but if you want to pay and make it official, it's just 1% taxes. However, let's talk about bigger companies. If you have a company and you'd like to register it, in Dubai, you have mainland, not Dubai, Emirates. You have Dubai, you have free zones, and you have mainland. It's pretty fast to register a company in a free zone. It will cost you between $3,000 and $5,000. Yes, it's a certain cost of entry. It's a bit more, and it's longer in the mainland of Emirates. Well, in Georgia, it's a few days and $200 to $300 to register a company. It's very, very affordable. However, of course, what you're not getting in Georgia is an access to wealthy individuals living here. A lot of people here in Georgia, a lot of tourists, and right now we're coming into summer season. Of course, the tourist industry is flourishing here. There's a lot of business going on, but it's not Dubai. Now, big companies don't come here, don't register themselves here just because of favorable terms. They are very good, probably the best in the region. I struggle to find a better country with better financial terms than Georgia right now. But keep in mind, it's not as stable as Emirates. It's not as established. Emirates, obviously, they have Etihad for Abu Dhabi, if you decide to stay there or work there. They have Emirates, the airline, for Dubai. They have multiple airports. They basically connect the whole world together. It's a very big thing. Obviously, people in Emirates, they also try to be friendly. Now, what I mean? Right now, there's a trade war between the United States and China. Europe is always thinking of, honestly, I don't know what Europe is doing. They always think about something, pretend to do something, but never do anything. Now, the point is, Dubai tries to be friends with everyone. That's it. They just try to be friends with China. They try to be friends with the United States, Europe. They don't actively try to sanction someone. I think they have certain misunderstandings of Qatar. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but I just know they have something going on there. But that's pretty much it. Extremely friendly, stable, multicultural place. Georgia, of course, is one of the borders here is the one with Russia. Some people may like it, some people may not. Some people may say it creates certain instability in Georgia. I don't know about that. I personally have high hopes for Georgia. I think it's a growing place, and it deserves to be stable and more popular. It's definitely not doing a bad job. Lari, the currency here in Georgia, is rather stable. It's not as stable as dirham in Dubai and Emirates, which is pegged with American dollar. And of course, most goods are priced in dollars, so it makes it quite stable. Georgian lari is about 2.7, 2.8 for one American dollar, and about 3 for euros. And it's been this way for a long time. So there's nothing to be scared of here in that sense. But about Dubai, you really need to be careful with laws and rules. I'll tell you one story of my friend. It's a girl, well, she's a woman. She used to work as a flight attendant for a few years, and she stopped, she quit, and she came back home to Australia. Now, what happened with her is, by the time she was ready to go home, obviously she had a checklist of things she needed to do before leaving the country, like close a bank account, close this, cancel your lease, and basic things for a person trying to leave the country. One of these not so significant points was to cancel TV subscription. So she did. She needed to come to the office to sign a few papers. That she did. The problem was she forgot to bring her remote control for the TV because it was given by the company, so you were supposed to return it back. And she didn't want to go back, to home and back to the agencies, about 2 hours. Why would you waste 2 hours for that? They had an option of just paying. Yeah, so she agreed just to pay a cost of this remote to the company, and they would put in the system that it's all paid off, no questions asked. That's it. She did just that. She paid for the remote control. And then 2 years later, Australian authorities notified her that there's a certain legal case against her happening in Dubai. She started to dig in the direction, and she came to the point that turns out that company, they didn't really put this checkbox that she returned the remote control. And after a few years, they started a proper legal case of theft of some sort against her. Theft in Emirates, you don't want to do that. It's jail time, it's big fines, it's probably likely even jail time and fines. You don't want to do that. And that's what happened to her. And this is, you understand, strange. She's a decent girl, always paid everything, taxes, never stole anything. But that's the kind of situation she needs to deal with. But point is, gotta be careful. If you're in Dubai, respect the rules, respect the laws, respect the driving rules, don't litter. Georgia is opposite in that sense. You can just pay off certain little overspeeding or parking or littering. It's not such a big deal here. And in general, much more flexible country. Yet, still safe. They don't have high fines to enforce the rules, yet people are somehow really nice here. Now that's it. I hope you have some understanding, a little comparison I've done for you of Dubai and Georgia. It's up to you to decide where to go. But Dubai, I guess you can say like a Mercedes established brand. Everyone knows what it is, what you're getting with it. And Georgia is more like an up and coming brand. For example, one of the Chinese cars, like Haval or whatever, something like that. I personally used to have a Haval at some point of time. I love the cars. I love Chinese cars, but it's a bit of a risk. It's a wild horse. However, it may pay off and you might be the winner in the end. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a beautiful day and I'll talk to you later. Alligator. Bye-bye.